There are questions, my dear friends, that seem as old as time itself. Why the stars are pinned across the night sky, why the sea sings its endless hymn to the shore, and, perhaps just as profound, why did God create the family? It is easy, all too easy, to look upon the family as a mere biological arrangement, a social convenience, or, for some, a burdensome tradition handed down like a dusty heirloom from an attic no one visits anymore. But I suggest, nay, I contend, that the family is far more than this, more ancient, more splendid, more essential than even the empires of men or the cathedrals built by their hands. You see, in the beginning, when the Eternal breathed life into clay, and the first man opened his eyes upon a world unmarred by the scars of history, he was alone. Not lacking in dominion, for the beasts bowed and the birds answered, but lacking in fellowship, in companionship. And so, from his very side, God crafted woman. Not from the dust as before, but from living bone, as if to whisper you are of the same substance, the same mystery, the same destiny. The family is not an afterthought of civilization, but its foundation. It is the original fellowship, a reflection, albeit dimmed and weathered by time, of the eternal relationship within the Trinity itself. Father, Son, and Spirit, distinct, yet indivisibly bound by love. So too, man, woman, and child, distinct souls, yet woven together by bonds no earthly hand can sever. And why? Why did the Almighty, infinite and self-sufficient, ordain such a thing as fathers and mothers, sons and daughters? Because love, true love, cannot abide in isolation. It must express, must extend, must create. It is in the hearth of the family that love takes on flesh, in laughter around the table, in bedtime stories whispered by lamplight, in the gentle discipline that teaches right from wrong. But let us not fall prey to romantic delusions. The family is not always harmonious. It is, like all good things, marred by our frailties. There are quarrels, misunderstandings, even heartbreaks. Yet therein lies its strange, sanctifying power. For within the small crucible of father, mother, and child, we learn, sometimes through tears, to forgive, to persevere, to sacrifice. Our traditions, those oft-maligned customs and rituals passed from one weary hand to another, are not mere relics. They are, in truth, the memory of our lineage, a golden thread stretching back through the labyrinth of generations, reminding us that we belong to a story far grander than ourselves. In family, we find the first taste of duty, a word out of fashion, but never out of need. It is in the home that we first learn to submit, not out of oppression, but out of love, to bear with one another's weaknesses, to shoulder burdens not our own. And lineage, that ancient word, is more than bloodlines inked upon yellowed parchment. It is the river of identity, flowing from ancestors we may never know to descendants yet unborn. Each of us is but a single note in a symphony composed by unseen hands. Consider this God himself entered human history not as a solitary figure descending from the clouds, but as a babe nestled in the arms of a mother, protected by an earthly father, raised within the walls of a humble home in Nazareth. The Incarnation, the greatest mystery, unfolded within the ordinary frame of a family. It is tempting, in our modern age of convenience and fractured ties, to dismiss the family as obsolete, to replace it with transient alliances, fleeting passions, or the cold machinery of the state. But a people who forsake the family forsake their future. For in the quiet heroism of parents, the trust of children, the wisdom of elders, there lies the scaffolding upon which civilization itself is built. The family is a school of virtue, its lessons inscribed not merely upon the mind, but upon the heart. Here, the child learns courage from the stories of his ancestors, patience from the weary smile of his mother, strength from the calloused hands of his father. And above all, it is within the family that the seeds of eternity are sown. For when we love across generations, when a grandfather's prayer cradles a newborn, yet unable to speak, we participate in a tapestry that transcends death itself. So let us not grow weary of this divine institution. Let us instead cherish its trials, its traditions, its lineage. For in doing so, we do not merely honor our ancestors, we prepare the soil for the generations to come. The family, imperfect, embattled, yet ordained, remains the lamp in the gathering dusk, the hearth against the encroaching cold, the echo of Eden, and the whisper of eternity. And that, my friends, is why God created the family.